Hi Marks, you might be familiar with this lovely egg. If you are, then you are in for an audio-based treat on the Cultaholic podcast feed later on, as myself, Matthew Gregg, and Matt McMuscles from the What Happened series here on the YouTube are going to watch some old episode of SmackDown on the Cultaholic Classic SmackDown review. It's wrestling from 20 years ago. Three guys who should know better. Subscribe in the podcast feed to hear it later on today. But for now, here is your wrestling news. There are backstage concerns over a new Raw star. A former WWE personality is returning to the company. And a TV star is appearing on AEW Dynamite this week. Find out who in a little bit. Lots of new faces on the red brand. The season premiere of Monday Night Raw went down last night. One of those new faces was a very tall face by the name of Jordan Omagbahin. Now you may recognize Big Jordan as not only the big ninja from Akira Tozawa's army, but also the big security guard from Raw Underground that time. Well, it seems as if he's moved on from both roles and has a new one as AJ Styles' bodyguard. Now, before we go into this story, let's give the credit where credit is due. That man looks good in a suit. Whoo! That's a sharp looking fella. Sharp looking fella. Not so sharp, apparently, is the stuff in ring. There are some backstage concerns about the in-ring capabilities of Big Jordan. Dave Meltzer from the Wrestling Observer says, he said this on the post-Raw episode of the Wrestling Observer radio show. He said, based on what he has heard from people within the company that have seen Jordan Omagbahin wrestle, and based on other factors, he's not gonna be the best, and there are some concerns that his skills in ring are pretty lackluster. So you're putting him in a position where he will get physically involved with quite a few members of the roster by the looks of things. We already saw him putting his hands on an official and on AJ Styles' opponent Matt Riddle last night. We saw some almost physical altercations on that front. So you are building to something with him. He's an imposing figure, but according to Meltz, he's not going to be the best in ring. But to be honest with you, that would never stop WWE anyway. You look at the history of hiring guys because they are tall. You know, your giant Gonzalez, your giant Silver, your great Khali. You know, this is a company that classes tall as a personality trait as opposed to a measurement of height. And consequently, they're going to go, this guy looks great. If he doesn't wrestle so well, that might be a thing. But there are some backstage concerns about his ability. You can watch videos of him from NXT, from the house show tours of NXT, and he's very limited in what he can do. Very, very imposing physically, but not great technically. But he's touring with AJ Styles, so if you're gonna, you know what, if you're gonna spend all your time hanging around with anybody, somebody with the wrestling ability of an AJ Styles, you can't go wrong, really. A WWE personality is returning to the company after a long time away. She's coming home. She's coming home. Lillian Garcia is coming home. She put out a tweet that said, "It's with great excitement and gratitude that I announce my return home to WWE, but in a very different capacity. I am proud to announce that my show, Chasing Glory, will now appear on the WWE Network. It all begins on Monday, October the 26th. Thank you, WWE Universe, for all the love." If you haven't seen Chasing Glory or heard Chasing Glory, this is Lillian Garcia's podcast. A wonderful interview series with a whole manner of people in and outside of the wrestling world. Obviously, a lot of wrestlers going on that show. Lillian got a lot of love in the time that she spent as part of WWE. So a lot of people want to come and have a chat with her. And WWE are picking it up and putting it onto the WWE Network. It'll no doubt be part of the podcast network that they're building as well. I'm excited. It's great to see Lillian Garcia's interview show being picked up. It's great WWE recognizing a really solid interview show and maybe making a bid to buy that interview show and put it on the network. I think it's great. It's great to see that. Take that down. Don't know what that's doing there. Get rid of that. New episode tomorrow. Some interesting news from the Flair household, as Charlotte Flair has signed with a major sports agency. She'll now be represented by Vayner Sports, which is a company owned by AJ and Gary Vee. You may be familiar with Gary Vee. He's a bit of an entrepreneurial type. He did an interview with Stephanie McMahon recently, so he's obviously been looking into the wrestling world. It's a company that was launched back in 2016, and they were originally just representing football players. They've branched out into the world of combat, and they represent MMA guys like Eddie Alvarez, Vito Belfort, Stipe, Mika Chick as well, and now they're moving along to some more wrestling types, and Charlotte Flair is the first on the books. Interesting when you see these guys, when there's been so much conversation about wrestlers and third-party deals. Charlotte Flair signing to a sports agency. I don't know whether this is something, if it becomes a trend, whether WWE will stamp out. We will see. Staying in the sporting world, a bit of interesting news from Major League Wrestling, as they have announced that they are going to be bringing in disgraced NBA ref Tim Donaghy for some shows very soon. So if you're a basketball fan, you will know the story of Tim Donaghy. He was involved in a betting ring that saw him go to prison for 15 months. He's since come out and he's been doing interviews and talking about it. And it looks as if the real life crooked official is going to go into the world where crooked officials can be part of a program. So Sports Illustrated made the announcement, and MLW COO Jarrett St. Laurent put out a statement saying that Donaghy's going to be introducing a storyline that sees him serve as the personal referee for Richard Holliday's upcoming matches. So it's the old evil referee shtick, but it's got a nice real twist, and I love it. Pro wrestling is entertainment, says Donaghy. I always joked the NBA was a form of entertainment, and I compared it to a little bit of pro wrestling behind the scenes. When I was growing up, I always enjoyed pro wrestling. Guys like Hulk Hogan and Ivan Putski. I thought it'd be fun to get involved and see where it goes. So he's doing the one appearance for now, or a couple of appearances for now, possibly more if he enjoys it and MLW are a fan of their work. This is a weird old twist in the sporting world. So Tim from the basketball is going to the wrestling, and Jake from the wrestling is going back into the cage. Hager has announced his next match for Bellator. Isn't that long away, actually? It's going to be happening in 10 days' time. So this was reported by MMA Junkie yesterday, saying that Jake Hager is going to return at Bellator 250. And it's going to be the first time since last year he got into the cage. And he's getting in there against Brandon Colton, undefeated heavyweight. Again, first time since last October. He was involved with Bellator, and something that he's always been wanting to keep ticking over as well as his wrestling career. So best of luck to Jake Hager getting amongst it in the cage again. And staying with AEW, tomorrow night a TV star is going to be a part of Dynamite, as Steve-O from Jackass will be appearing via a video on tomorrow night's episode. So this was teased on Instagram by Darby Allin. There's a video you can watch of Darby and Steve-O setting up a stunt. There's a skate ramp there, there's a body bag there, and they're going to reveal the entire video tomorrow. Steve-O, no stranger to the world of sports entertainment, of course. Jackass lads did some stuff with WWE many years ago. You always feel like Steve-O would make a good transition to the wrestling world, and I feel like he's always had that little bit of desire to do more in it. So I see Steve-O and Darby Allin making some silly video goodness for Dynamite tomorrow night. Darby Allin getting amongst it for the TNT Championship very soon as well. So why not put a little bit of star power behind Darby Allin and get Steve-O involved in stuff? I'm hoping this continues to escalate and we just get basically weekly videos of Darby Allin doing Jackass-esque stunts, or just a weekly episode where we just get Brian Cage to put him in a body bag and throw him into different places, throw him off a mountainside, throw him off Mount Rushmore, throw him into a portal. I don't know. It's late in the day. I've been up since 4. I'm a bit sleepy. Have a lovely Tuesday. Stay safe and love you. Bye.